boxing. Nobody can own boxing. We owe to the fighters and to the fans. That's it.
But I just think about the younger fighters looking up to Terrence Crawford and then maybe following suit. What if they were all to abandon the titles and then they all fought for the Ring magazine? Is there any way you'd be able to work with Terrence Crawford? He said that all the other sanctioning bodies were willing to accept a lower amount of money. He said you were the only one that wasn't willing to go lower. What was your response to that?
There are rules and there's an order, and the WBC is the WBC. I cannot compare to anybody else. And he signed a contract. He fought to fight for the WBC title. He fought to fight for the undisputed title. He knows the rules. He does not want to abide by the rules. It's okay. He can go other ways.
Okay. Would you be willing to work with him or speak with him to maybe resolve something and work with him in the future? Because the rematch is probably going to happen with Canelo Alvarez, correct?
I have no idea. I talk to everybody. I have no hard feelings to anyone. We ended up the convention with the WBC Cares initiative. We had a very nice cardboard of champions, including Terrence, and we all signed a nice cardboard signature of Terrence Crawford. We're going to send it to him, wishing him the best. If the path crosses again, perfect.
So now you know who the face of boxing is, if you was arguing with it before, or if anybody was denying it or trying to say it wasn't true. Why is it so? Because you can't indirectly say that Terrence Crawford is basically nobody or insignificant or not the face of boxing, yet you are worried about his influence on other fighters and up-and-coming fighters and fighters that look up to him. And you realize there's a lot of fighters, fans and fighters, that look up to Terrence Crawford. He's basically like the pinnacle. So you're recognizing his influence. Now, if he can do that, you can't say at the same time that this man is not the face of boxing. And if by any chance anybody wanted to argue any further, then this is the only further data I need right here. You have to understand what this means. That's in the world. As far as athletes, only a few have done this that I've recorded. Connor, I believe Michael Phelps, David Beckham. Those are the only ones that I know of that I can remember from off the top of the head. But that's basically solidifying that you are not just the top in your field, but you're the top in sports. You're the most Googled, looked up athlete, the most Googled of that year. So that means everybody's tapped in. Everybody's tapped in. And like I said, he's tapped in a way that people can't really grasp, because they gave you the illusion that we had boxing. We didn't have boxing. Boxing been limping on one leg, and it's been limping on the Latin faction. Canelo was never able to break up to the American market. Never. Started speaking English too late and everything. They just listen, boxing just focused on that. That's all boxing did, was just focus on the Latin faction. Boxing hasn't truly accessed all the channels of America that it can, and I don't know how long. And it takes a certain scenario for that to happen. And it takes a certain environment for it to happen consistently. That's just the truth of it. Terrence Crawford is the face of boxing, without a shadow of a doubt. Not only that, he's starting to become very polarizing, whether by calamity or intentional. Setting a standard on how to be treated in boxing. See, the thing is, They thought they could punk Terrence Crawford. That's all it is. That's all it was. And you could tell that Mauricio is regretting it. He know he went too far. But see, if this wasn't mixed up in people's racial egos, they never would have pushed it this far. They never would have did it to nobody else. Period. It's not the more you make, the more I take. What is that? No, that's not how that goes. Especially when you get paid fees for just existing. You know, I got to pay you to carry your belt. All right. And they just didn't think that fighters could get bigger than the belt or want to be. This is not that era. Yeah, when belts meant something, and you know, but the more y'all crapped over it, the more hype jobs y'all pumped into it, the more y'all done kept people away from the title who was supposed to get a title shot, the less this stuff got worth. And boxing started to strip away what was left. The theatrics, a knockout here, a knockout there, a good little frisky press conference, and some internet tweeting stuff. That's about it. That's what it's been boiled down to. That's how you get to Jake Paul status. Or should I say Ryan Garcia, who shouldn't be nowhere in the equation of boxing. Just the fact that he's around in a serious manner makes boxing look childish. Like, you can't take it seriously. Like, anybody participating can jump in there and do something. And let's face it, we know we ain't had the best fighters in a while. But that's why it's even more important to champion somebody like him, because he's going to only perpetuate the same thing. But if perpetuating the same thing don't mean that you can sell your stock. I mean, you selling yourself short, because what about the man that ushers in the era that produces a good stock, where you ain't got to worry about the theatrics and paying people and dodging? What happened to the time where you actually believed in your product, when you was willing to gamble, when you was just as passionate as like the fighter was about what you was doing? You know, what happened to that? But it is what it is. But Terrence Crawford, no doubt, man. The face of boxing, the people he reached, just his range of people he reached. Terrence reaches from the common person down the street to the people on Wall Street, to the people in entertainment like Denzel, you know what I'm saying, or Dr. Dre or 50 Cent, or he reaches all that and some, and still is relatable, still looked at. He can still walk amongst the people, and you don't feel an elevation of bad habits or attitude that came with the elevation of his success. He stayed grounded while his success just rose up around him. You know, that's, people love that. That's comfortable. That's so relatable when people can relate down and up, you know, and you're relatable for people from a high society and a low society. That's a beautiful place to be. That's a place that only certain type of people can land. You know what I'm saying? Like Ali and Bruce Lee, like they can land in that place where both sides really cling to him. Anyways, that's my thoughts on this. Like, comment, subscribe. Bruce Van, I'm out.
Champions, including Terrence, and we all signed a nice cardboard signature of Terrence Crawford. We're gonna send it to him, wishing him the best. If the path crosses again, perfect.